Hey everyone, and today unfortunately I'm going to have to make the kind of video that I really hope that I would never have to make on this channel. It's going to be focusing on drama within the World of Tanks community, specifically between Foch and between Wargaming. Now I must stress this video is going to feature absolutely no gameplay of World of Tanks, so if that immediately sounds really boring and you have no interest in my opinion on the matter, then just turn this video off. But there just seems to be so much confusion about what I think about this matter, what I think about censorship, where it seems to be turning into a horrific game of Chinese whispers, where I guess some members of the community who don't like me, that's perfectly fine, you guys don't have to like me or my content, but I would argue, why watch it, are going as far as to talk for me, and I just want this video to be the end of it, so I can go back and focus on the things that I love, i.e. playing great games and hopefully sharing my passion for them with you. So firstly, for those of you out there who have no idea what happened, let me get you updated. It all started on Thursday with the release of Wargaming's latest premium tank, the Chrysler. And as usual, when the NDA is lifted, all the community contributors publish their videos on the vehicle. And one community contributor, who is well known for his extreme opinions and unadulterated filthy language, put out a review that was about 90 seconds long, but boy did he fit a lot of controversial things inside that 90 seconds. Foch quite rightfully claimed that the tank had very little frontal weak points. In fact, if you don't angle the tank at all, the lower plate is still 215mm thick. That's very powerful for a tier 8 tank. He also quite rightly highlighted that the machine gun ports on the vehicle on the upper plate were not a weak point, and the cupola on top of the tank was still about 240mm thick. And while he certainly missed out quite a few of the downsides of the vehicle, I respect his opinion that he feels the tank is completely overpowered. However, it was the controversial things that he did in the video as to why it has gathered so much attention, and that was comparing the vehicle to 8s and specifically saying fuck you to Wargaming for releasing what he feels is a completely overpowered vehicle. Later that day, Phelan, one of Wargaming Europe's community managers, contacted Foch and told him that I guess he thought the review was completely out of order and requested that Foch take down the video. Now quite rightly, Foch refused this. He should be entitled to his own free speech. And then Phelan made a categorical error. He threatened Foch that if he did not take down the video, the Wargaming would issue a Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown notice. So receiving a copyright strike on YouTube doesn't actually affect your account in any way, it just counts as a warning, at least for the first strike. However, as far as I can tell, if you receive a second strike within 3 months, then apparently you won't be able to post new YouTube videos for 2 weeks, and each strike will apparently remain on your account for 3 months after it was first issued before it will expire. But if you receive a third strike, then apparently your entire account will be terminated. Now this is absolutely terrifying for a YouTuber. Some of us have got hundreds or if not thousands of videos that we have clocked up over the years, and the idea that all of these would be removed certainly makes them absolutely no laughing matter. And so of course Foch obliged and said, okay, well I guess you've got me, either I take this video down or he would be liable for one or maybe even multiple strikes, which could jeopardize his livelihood. But the reason why I say Wargaming were categorically wrong in this situation is because Foch didn't really break any copyright laws. He was using a third-party website, TanksGG, which albeit does use content from World of Tanks, but I would argue that the video was perfectly within the grounds of fair use, and I don't think that Wargaming would have been in the right if they had issued a copyright strike. And so effectively what this means is that Wargaming were using an illegitimate threat to censor Sir Foch. And that's certainly something that cannot be ignored, and I do not stand for it, and there was no doubt that this was a massive mistake on Phelan's behalf. Now unfortunately for me in my review on the Chrysler, of course, I had made my video before any of this had happened. Both me and Foch released our videos at the same time. And so slowly but surely as this drama unfolded throughout the weekend, my video, which I had made irrespective of any of this drama, would have then looked like I completely ignored what had happened. So the result, as you would expect, was a very negative response from the World of Tanks community, and quite rightly so. Effectively, Wargaming had censored Foch through incorrectly threatening to issue a copyright takedown of, frankly, his fair use content, which was just his opinion. However, since then, Florian, who is head of community management at Wargaming, informed the community that it was a mistake that Foch was threatened with this takedown notice, and have since, I guess, reassured the community that this will not be happening in the future as a way of censoring reasonable critique. Now, while this is certainly a relief for all of the content creators out there that Wargaming don't have a policy that they're going to try and silence any critique through threatening their livelihood, and that's great news going forward, it doesn't completely absolve them from the mistake they made in the first place. And while I don't agree with Foch's extreme opinion of the Chrysler, which I don't even think is that special of a tank, and my review kind of told you to skip it, and condemn his belittlement of a terrible affliction aids by comparing the tank to it, I certainly do stand by his entitlement to free speech, that he can say whatever he wants about the vehicle, he can say whatever he wants about wargaming, and against censorship in general. And if wargaming felt so strongly about what Foch said, then they should instigate legal proceedings against him, not censor his opinion. The outcome of the matter is that Foch is no longer a community contributor, and I guess you would expect that if you were to just shout the company that has made you one in the first place. But Wargaming have not banned him from the game, and they've welcomed him to continue making videos on their content in the future. And now that's out of the way, I want to take this opportunity to clarify a few things. Number one, so many people have been telling a blatant lie that I am paid by Wargaming to make my YouTube videos. I would just like to categorically state that my income from YouTube comes from the adverts that you see that run before, sometimes during, and after the video. All of my income comes directly from YouTube and its parent company, Google. I have never been paid a penny to make a YouTube video. And the only time that I have been paid by Wargaming in the last 5 years that I've been making content on World of Tanks was to commentate at the Grand Finals 2015 and when I stream at their booth from Gamescom in Cologne, Germany. I always find these kind of comments so ironic and ridiculous because I actually turned down many four-figure sums of money to make sponsored YouTube videos from other companies. And as of yet, I've turned all of those down because I do make a very good income off my YouTube and my Twitch. You guys are incredible. You show me a hell of a lot of support. All of my opinions on this channel are my own. All of the content that I've put on this channel of World of Tanks and other games has been content that I have chosen to play because I love the games that I play. And I would like to clarify right now, if I ever make a sponsored video on my YouTube channel in the future, i.e. one that a company pays for, I promise I will tell you. And to all of those haters out there who are doubting my integrity and calling me a shill, I'd just like to ask you a question. What is going to sell more tanks in a YouTube video? Is it going to be somebody arguably like me who goes through the statistics, tells you what's good about a tank, shows you what's bad about a tank, shows you some gameplay, and then maybe at the end of the video says, you know what, I'd probably skip out on this one because arguably the Patriot or the Defender might be overpowered? Or would it be if I was to wave my hands in the air, call this tank completely overpowered, this is a joke, you Wargaming? And then how does somebody react to that? Immediately they grab their wallet, they go onto the Wargaming website, they get their credit card out, and they pay them 35, 50, however much the tank costs to be able to get their hands on it as quickly as they can right now. And then a few hours later, they're going to be very disappointed to find this tank wasn't what it was cracked up to be. And who are the real winners? The winners are the people who sensationalize the tank to be able to get all the views, to be able to get all the ad revenue, and I guess also Wargaming when you think about it, because they've got money from it as well. But that's not what my goal is. I don't want to make that quick buck right now. I want you guys to hopefully respect my reviews and then come back for more in the future when more vehicles come out. The goal of my content is not to advertise Wargaming's products. It is to review them so the community can make better informed choices about the vehicles. I'm not here to ram my opinion down your throat. I want you to come to your own conclusions, and hopefully my experience of World of Tanks can help you to skip out the really boring bits to be able to get there. For example, mentioning if a tank gets overmatched in certain areas, or showing you a few situations where the vehicle might be really powerful, or tips and tricks to be able to take it down. And so sometimes my, I guess, reserved approach can lead people to believe who have already developed an opinion about the tank that I am underplaying it, perhaps to hide the overpowered tanks or to make the really bad tanks seem pretty okay. But those aren't the people I'm trying to talk to. They've already formed their own opinion. They are not going to change it. And the result is that those people think that I don't ever voice my opinion to Wargaming or be critical about their products. Well, that's just complete tripe. If you think that, you probably only watch my premium tank reviews. Over the years, I've stood up for many key issues within this community. Number one, for the European server. At one point, Wargaming were planning on releasing all new premium content exclusively in bundles, starting from the first Scorpion, the American Tier 7 tank destroyer. Originally that cost, I think it was €50, and it was bundled with gold even though it was a Tier 7 tank. Wargaming have since made the promise that all premium vehicles, when they're released for the first time, will never be bundled. I've also been, at least in my opinion, the primary instigator for some of the actions against Update 10.0 Rubicon, where Wargaming were planning on giving you extra crew skills if you paid for gold to put emblems on your tanks, or you could pay monthly a completely unfeasible number of credits. Also this November I called Wargaming out for probably what is the most lazy content of all time, reskinning popular premium tanks as black editions. What a joke that was. And so I want this video, and frankly the time that I've wasted reading all of this utter bullcrap over the weekend of people making things up about me, to not be in vain, as I've got a short list of things that I'm currently not happy with about World of Tanks that I want to present to you. Number one, the power creep of certain premium vehicles. I think it's unacceptable when tanks are 5 or 10% better than their standard counterparts, like the Patriot and the T-32. I also completely disagree with the selling of overpowered premiums that just have dramatic and disgusting impacts on the matchmaker. Vehicles I believe fit into this, there are, for example, the E25, the Panzer B2740, the Panzer II-J, for example. All of those tanks have preferential matchmaking and destroy especially the fragile lower tiers of World of Tanks. And why do we want to be selling €100 pay-to-win tanks to players, experienced players, so they can go and kill all of the new players? Surely we want to nurture all of those new players and get them to go up to the higher tiers, where then they might spend far more money than if they were completely wasted killing the lower tier tanks. Isn't that a win-win situation for Wargaming and also the community? Thirdly, there's no doubt that currently there is an escalating importance for premium round usage due to some really big buffs to tanks like the Mouse and the Type 5 Heavy that mean that unless you run a premium account or you have some premium tanks, you're just becoming less and less competitive against vehicles that really were kind of okay in the first place. Fourthly, where premium rounds have absolutely no drawbacks, for example on the Type 5 Heavy, i.e. where a quick dab of the 2 key and loading some gold, or alternatively paying 4 times the credit price of a standard round, you can just have an extra 300 damage for the same amount of penetration. Surely the easiest fix in the world is to change the type of round. Why don't you make it an armor piercing round or a heat round, Wargaming, to make it feel that you can only shoot it at really weakly armored targets to be able to do a higher amount of damage, just like on the Hesh rounds on the FV215B183, for example. Next up, that I'm still not happy with tier 10 light tanks, and I'd like to see Wargaming make them more competitive. And finally, that the upcoming super equipment that is likely to be available only in the ranked game mode will be applicable in the random queue and also all of the lower tier tanks. There's no need for the best players to get better. The best players don't want to get an advantage over everybody else just because they're good at the game. They want to show off how good they are through cosmetic changes, like in every other free-to-play game or competitive MMO, such as Overwatch, you get some golden guns. In League of Legends, you get a special skin. Not everybody is a unicorn. Not everybody can get a tier 10 tank. Not everybody is going to be able to apply all of those ranked equipment rewards to their vehicles. And while I can't promise that I'm going to log in right now and fix all of these changes, remember, I'm just a guy on the internet enjoying video games and hopefully sharing my passion for them with you. I'm not Wargaming, but what I can promise you guys, my community, is that I'm going to take this list that I've just voiced right here, and also anything that you guys tell me in the comments down below that I agree with, and instigate an objective while still hopefully being an effective conversation discourse with as many people as high up as I possibly can at Wargaming. And while I'm sure that the naysayers will continue to say that I'm only doing this to protect my reputation and because I care about making money from my content, but if only a few of you out there believe that my key motivation is that I love this game and I love the community that's built up around it, and I love the community that's built up around my content, and I want to see it succeed in the future, then all of the crap that I've put up with in the last few days will be completely worth it. And so please, in as constructive way as possible, let me know in the comments down below what you feel are the biggest issues facing World of Tanks and its development at the moment. Do you agree with my list? Do you feel that I've missed anything out? And also, let's not forget about the positive side of things, right? What are the things that you most like in World of Tanks at the moment and you're most looking forward to in the future? And I'd like to finish this video by just reiterating a big thank you to all of you lovely ladies and gentlemen out there, because you enable me to do what I love, and I'm forever appreciative of that. I've never been happier than the last 5 years. Sure, there have been some tough times, but I feel more complete as a person now than I ever have done. Hopefully you can see that, and here's to the next 5 years, right?